Hey everybody, it's Stacy with Through the Woods Consulting, here for another episode of Working Like a Woman with my friend Megan, who we will get a full introduction from in a minute. But I want to thank you for tuning back in and joining us to hear from another awesome woman in the community who is working and raising a family and holding it down and doing it in a way that works for her and making the rules sort of try to survive the rules and get through it all. So we appreciate your time, but as always, watch the video and then look below for the link for the blog where we'll have the second half of the questions typed up. But let's dig into it. So Megan, please introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay.
Tell us who you are, what you do.
Hi everybody, my name is Megan Gilliland. I am a public finance attorney with a law firm in Richmond. I've been practicing for 13 years. Married with 2 kids in elementary school, and they keep me pretty busy between the 2.
Yeah. I mean, the ages, our kids are roughly the same ages, and the ages they are now is, I thought I was busy when I had babies.
Yes, I had a good friend at a law firm tell me when my kids were like infant toddler, she had elementary school age kids, and I was saying, just wait. I was saying to myself, and I know it'll get better as they get older, and she actually said, she's like, no, it won't.
Harder.
Believe me, it gets harder, and she was right.
Yeah. There's
just they need different things, more time.
They do.
And more.
You can't strap them to you and just
you can't
walk around the kitchen anymore.
Correct. You can't phone them.
No. Okay, so anything else? No, I totally interrupted you.
No.
Okay.
I think
you work full-time plus.
So I have tried over the last 3 years to create a part-time flexible schedule, which has been semi-successful in the flexible part, but not successful in the part-time part. So I've ended up taking my normal 8 to 5, 8 to 6 job and probably still working those number of hours, if not more, but have created a window of time in the afternoon so I can spend time with my kids, which was really the only way I could see myself practicing longer.
Right.
So my day starts early and it ends late, but I have a break in the middle.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And so, truth be told, this is why I invited Megan on, because these creative ideas are the things that I think other women who are working need to hear and to try, and you all have to just toy with what works for you. But she and I have a similar goal to get our kids off the bus and take that break in the middle of the day. So anyone who knows me knows that I have a 2-hour break in the middle of the day where you can't reach me generally because it's bus time and homework time, and then we get the rest done later.
Well, and my kids, if I'm going to really hear what happened that day, I get it at 2:30 for about 15 minutes walking back to the house.
Yes.
And when I was working full time and I was getting home basically when they were going to bed, the day it was so far gone that by the time I started asking questions, they had forgotten what had happened to them that day that upset them or that they were happy about. Like I was just missing all of that because they had moved on to
and I find that those things fester, right? Like if they don't get it off their chest right away and you don't understand, like it comes back to bite you 2 or 3 weeks later. And if you don't know it, then it's hard to put the pieces together and solve it. Yeah.
So I've crafted, and some days it's better than others, some weeks it's better than others, but I've sort of crafted this block of time. You know, some folks respect it that I work with, some don't, and I just kind of manage it, but for better for worse, I have to get them off the bus because they can't get off the bus by themselves yet, so I have to be there.
So sorry people, I'm out. Even your high dollar clients, they're just gonna have to wait.
Exactly.
All right, were you ready to dig in?
Yeah.
So 10 rapid fire questions and then 5 more to follow on the blog. So we start easy. You ready?
Yes.
Number 1, what is your favorite accessory at this moment in time?
Sadly, probably my 2 cell phones. I have my personal phone and my work phone, which I thought keeping separate was a good idea. I think some days it is, some days it isn't. I think people look at me funny when I'm sitting in a soccer game and I have
2.
Both of my phones and I'm like flipping them back and forth, but that is sadly my favorite accessory.
You know, I also carried the 2 phones for a long time when I still had a corporate job, and it's exhausting. It's constant, but it is so nice to be able to go on vacation and leave your corporate phone behind.
It is nice.
So it's a double-edged sword.
I do try to leave my work phone in the car, like on the weekends or, at night when I'm out running errands. I don't need to be looking at my email when I'm at the grocery store.
Right.
At, 8:00 on a Friday night, but,
Happy Friday nights.
Yeah. But it is, I think for me, almost it's peace of mind knowing that there isn't something that's exploding
urgent,
that I did, was blissfully unaware of.
Because then you can stay on top of it and prepare for the slaughter on Monday.
Right.
All right. Number 2, what is your favorite part of the day?
So 15 years ago, if you told me that I would say what I'm about to say right now, I would have said you've lost your
I already know where you're going. I'm the same person.
The morning, early in the morning, at least 5, if not earlier. During the school year, I sometimes get up as early as 4 in the morning.
That's ungodly.
Because I can get 2 to 3 hours of work done. It's quiet. I'm fresh. I get to drink my coffee in peace. Mm-hmm. I do some of my best sort of legal document drafting because I'm not being interrupted. Mm-hmm. No one else is up, so I'm not getting 5 emails a minute that I need to deal with. But like I said, 15 years ago, I would have never thought that would be.
Once you have kids, you can't sleep anymore in the mornings. So,
right.
Now I could be asleep at 7 o'clock at night if you let me. But
yes, no, but absolutely, 5 to 7 is. That's definitely my. Yeah, I'm gonna get the most done in that 2-hour window, probably for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, and research does show that between an hour and 3 hours after you wake is your peak brain time. Mm-hmm. So makes sense.
I had an attorney say once, like a more senior attorney, say that you always, whatever the hardest thing you need to do during the day, rather than putting it off and doing it late when you're tired and just dreading it all day, just go ahead and knock it out first thing, and you already feel like have some sense of accomplishment. Even if you get nothing else done that day.
Brilliant advice.
That one hard thing done.
Get your
so I do try
big
to
stuff
do that.
done. I like that. That's good advice. Write that down. All right, number 3. What is your hobby? As I say, carefully knowing that you're a mother with 2 kids and you work a jillion hours. What is your hobby, Megan?
So I probably have 2 hobbies right now.
Okay.
I, much to my husband's dismay, we have 2 6-month-old puppies because I decided one was not enough, so I got 2.
Always a good choice.
I liked having the idea of having 2 to sort of entertain each other, which for the most part has worked.
Yeah.
It is 2 times the mess and 2 times the noise, but they do keep each other happy.
So Nelson Wood, I hope you're watching, because we started out as a 1-dog family and then became a 2-dog family, and now we're back to a 1-dog family. Yeah. Somewhere along the way, I had him promise me that we would always be a 2-dog family, which isn't quite happening right now. But it is true because they help to train each other, mm-hmm. they play with each other, they sleep. 2 dogs is better than 1.
I don't feel as bad leaving them, when I leave to go to work in the morning, they're with each other and they're very content.
Yeah.
Rather than leaving one solo guy by himself all day.
And what kind of puppies are they again?
They're Shih Tzu Poodle mixes. So they're fluffy and
that was not a cuss word, it's a Shih Tzu.
They're, I don't know, I think they're great. And Nick, they're growing on Nick.
I bet he loves them.
He likes them. He just
won't admit it quite yet.
When he's cleaning up some mess they left in a corner, he's questioning why we have 2 of them.
Right.
But they're almost out of that phase.
And then it'll be all good.
Yeah. So that's probably my big hobby right now, and they just take a lot of time. My probably favorite hobby that doesn't involve work or something that involves a responsibility family-wise is skiing, which I try to carve as much time in the winter as possible to ski. It's a good thing to do with my kids, so sort of as a family event. Mm-hmm. It's also one of the few things I do where I can leave my phones. And because you can't
be skiing down a mountain and holding a phone
and on a conference call. So it's definitely like top blocks of time where I'm not working.
Like Megan time.
Yes, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoy skiing by myself. I enjoy skiing with the kids.
Yeah.
We enjoy skiing with friends. So it's a good hobby for me.
Excellent.
And Nick hasn't hurt himself yet learning to ski, so we keep going.
I tried as a child. It was not a good experience.
It's hard to learn as an adult. It's not a very forgiving sport.
No.
Bless his heart,
he's real tall.
He is.
That's
real
a long
tall.
fall.
It is, and you know, a lot of football injuries. It's not. It's probably not a good idea for him, but he's joining it.
It's a good sport.
He is a good sport.
Okay, number 4. This one's just fun because, well, hold on, pause. I need to go back for a second. The reason I always throw in the question about hobbies is very intentional, and everyone's generally uncomfortable with that question, because I think as women, we get older and we tend, and I think a lot of men too, but we tend to give up our hobbies. And we sort of shed pieces and parts of our identity the older we get, and we put ourselves all into our work and raising our families. But I do think it's essential that we have something that is just a little bit for us and fuels some passions that we have in life. So if you're watching and thinking about your hobby.
Yeah, you need a carrot. You need that thing. It doesn't have to be every day or every week.
Exactly.
But you need that thing you're looking forward to, that you like to do. I had a friend once question whether my kids enjoyed skiing as much as I did, and whether or not I was sort of not forcing them, but you know, making the family want to do something as a family that I really wanted to do. And I was like, well, I reflected on that, because initially it hurt my feelings, and I thought about it, and I said, well, I do stuff all day long for my family.
Right.
And they enjoy it.
Right. I've never ever heard your kids complain. I've always heard your kids be excited about ski trips.
Right.
So,
well, it's one of the few things we do as a family where I'm not on my phone. So they should. I mean, I feel like they should love it,
recognize that, and appreciate it.
Right. But I do think it is important, because I remember my initial reaction was, oh my gosh, I feel guilty.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a minute,
that G word.
That's mine.
Yeah.
That one is mine.
And it's okay to own that. It's totally okay.
Yeah.
All right. Off the soapbox. Number 4, most inspirational song, or just a song you love. It makes you feel good.
This was a hard one for me, because I don't want to say I have the best taste in music. Right now, I think my 9-year-old picks what music I like.
Yeah.
But every morning when I'm driving into work, I'm like that person on the highway that's the music's blaring. I'm jamming to
singing and dancing, like no one can see you.
Yes. And you know, I'm fairly confident people can see me as I'm sitting at a stoplight singing in my car. But it's going to be sort of hip hop type of music.
Yeah. Party music.
Yeah. Something that just kind of gets me awake and
pumped up for your day.
Yes.
I like it.
Maybe remind me a little bit of when I was younger.
So you can go slay some dragons.
That's right.
I like it. All right, number 5. Most of us have bucket lists of things in life. I don't need to know the number 1 thing on your bucket list, but I would love if you would share something on your bucket list.
I think my probably number 1 bucket list item right now is just to be able to travel. So I was laughing with some friends over the weekend. A younger couple just got married. They're getting ready to go on their honeymoon and going to Italy for 2 weeks.
What? People do that for
Yes. And I was reflecting on how just nice that sounded. And Nick and I went on a similar trip to Italy 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The year before we started our family. And I just kind of laughed and said, and I guess in another 10 years, I'll get to maybe go back.
I know.
Because it's just not something that, our passports have expired. We're not going anywhere.
Right. It's just not hard.
I can't figure out how to fit it into our schedule.
Well, and I think also when the kids are a certain age, there's certain vacations that you do at different phases of your kids. Europe is on our bucket list as well, but it's very logically defined of when we'll go based on how old the kids are.
Right. So I think traveling is definitely something, we traveled some before we had kids, but I don't think you appreciate
your freedom
until after you've kind of given it up to somebody else.
Yes.
So I don't think I appreciated how much I enjoyed traveling before kids. And so that's definitely on my bucket list of things that I would like to be able to start doing in the future.
Like, so, all right, cool. Number 6, what do you, not what other people say, what do you think is your best quality? And this is a hard question as well for women, because we don't want to, toot our own horns. So I'm here to make you squirm.
All right. Well, so as a lawyer, I work with all different types of clients, individuals, people.
Yes.
And I like to think that I'm pretty good at reading people.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing like if they're, good or, but when you have a conversation with a client or an individual for the first time, whether they're the kind of person that's going to follow through, is going to stand by what they said or not, throwing under the bus or not.
Those
and
are
then
good.
maybe, readjust how you handle them going forward.
Yeah.
I think that's, watching other attorneys, I think that's an important skill as an attorney to be able to gauge. And I don't think it's something that natural. I think I sort of picked up on it over years of practicing. I do think it's helped me.
Yeah.
And I it's just sort of from like an innate skill. I think that's important.
An intuition for other people.
Yes.
And who they really are, so that you can communicate appropriately.
Right. Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, I hate the lawyers that come in suits, but everyone else in the room is,
Casual Friday.
Right. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person.
Good. So I'm in a t-shirt today. So.
Well, I do have to go to work after
I know. I'm working in a t-shirt
You
today.
are. This is, yeah.
Okay. Number 7. How do you invest in yourself? Another hard thing to do, especially in this phase of life.
That is an area where I struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that I invest on a daily basis. I don't dedicate an hour, a certain amount of time to myself on a daily basis. I should, and I have a lot of friends that say that's very important, and I've got to figure out how to get that into my schedule.
Right.
I mean, for me right now, the time that I'm able to take away from work and invest in something for my kids is really...
That fuels you.
That is fueling me for now. I mean, my kids are 7 and 9. I feel like I'm in that sort of sweet spot of time where they're really involved in lots of stuff and they still want me to be involved.
Yep.
And I don't want to miss that because I'm,
they're going to be teenagers soon. And
driving
and not want us at everything and have their own lives.
Right.
And it really is a special space right now. I think they are, the age they are.
So, and I don't want to, not to suggest that if you make time for yourself right now, that means you're not, it has nothing to do with being a good or bad mom. Mm-mm. It's just for me with my job, and
that's what you're able to do right now.
That is where I invest. And I do get fueled from that.
Yeah.
I have been very intentional in my job, and probably to the detriment of my career short term, creating this window of time to be with them in the afternoons, into the evenings, so that I can be the one that takes them to soccer practice and to martial arts and to whatever planned play dates that they want to have that I otherwise would maybe have a sitter doing. And for some people, I know a lot of attorneys that have suggested that I'm not doing this the right way and that I should let somebody else take care of that part so I can have quality time with them later, but this just works for me right now.
Yeah.
And it does kind of fuel me, and so I'll keep doing it this way until it doesn't work.
Yeah. And I think that is the big takeaway, right? Is you intentionally thought about what matters to you and what makes you feel good at this moment.
Right.
Because we all know it changes.
It does. And in 3 years, when my 9-year-old is 12, I may not want to get her off the bus every day.
Stop it.
I may want somebody else to take care of that hour that she's, unloading. Probably not.
No.
When I set out on this path to have this flexible schedule, I told the partner I'm still working with, but was working with at the time, that I really wanted to do this for the next 5 years. And he has children that are teenagers, early 20s, and he said, I hear you. I actually think it's more going to be 10 years. Just wait.
Wow,
and
that's great.
He's a dad with his wife's a stay-at-home mom, and even he
understands
that it wasn't going to be just a 5-year track. So, and he was right.
Huge.
I don't.
There's no way you could be done with it.
Yeah, in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to keep getting complicated.
Yes.
All right, number 8. What is your biggest passion in life?
I guess it's my family. I feel like I keep going back to the same thing. I mean, I don't think I would work as hard as I do to try to, set a good role for, be a good role model for my kids. And it's not, the income and being able to have the flexibility to do what I want to do as a family.
And traveling,
yes.
Right.
Like our life would look different, not better or worse, just different. But I do think that that's my passion is to try to be doing things every day that are intentionally helping my family.
I love it.
So
it's good. Number 9 is, because I'm always curious what other smart people are reading. What are you reading right now? What does the world need to read?
So I am reading my Dear Hamilton, which is by the same author, and I can never remember I'm awful at remembering authors' names. It's the same woman that wrote, or the same women that wrote America's First Daughter, which was about Martha Jefferson. So this is a book written, my Dear Hamilton is written about his wife, and it's based off of letters.
That's awesome.
But I like historical fiction.
I was going to say historical fiction.
So this is more historical than fiction, but I mean, because they are trying to keep very close to the sort of the truth,
the actual letters.
But I love reading stuff like that. I feel like I learn something about actual history, but it's also a good story.
There you go. So then you stay smart.
Yes.
Hopefully. Number 10, we're all the way at the bottom for the video portion. Remember, check out the link below for the blog, if I can talk. Last question is advice for other women, like a life hack tip that you've heard or embraced yourself, or a quote, or anything you just want to share with other women out there who, the audience is professional working women. Many are mothers, but on a path to create their own success in life.
So this one's very boring, but I think it's very true. Is like my life hack for how my family functions is to be very organized.
Yes.
And I had my dear friend, my college roommate, she had little kids before I did, and I remember asking, how do you commute into New York City and have 2 little kids at home and your husband's working? Like, how do you do all of this?
Right.
And she said, you just have to be organized. Like, you can do anything as long as you kind of have a plan.
Yep.
And you stick to the plan.
So do y'all use a family calendar in addition to separate calendars? Or like Nelson and I send each other electronic calendar appointments for everything from date nights to when he's out of town to when I'm out of town. Like, that's the only way we can manage it.
So I'm a touch of a control freak. So I have a family calendar. Yes. Nick's allowed to see it. He's not allowed to put anything on it.
We are, okay. Guilty as charged. We also, in addition to our electronic calendars, have a family calendar that's paper that's on the wall.
Right.
I'm the only one allowed to write on it.
Yes. I mean, I am the master of
there has to be one person that is the orchestrator. Yes. You don't go to hear a beautiful symphony and see 2 conductors. You have one.
For better or for worse, I mean, it's a role I wanted. I mean, it's not that Nick wouldn't have taken on that role. It was a role that I wanted to have.
Yes.
And he's very involved, and he does a lot of the after school activities where I tap out and I'm like, I can't go to another martial arts practice. He's the one that's sitting there watching the whole time and is present, so I don't have to physically be there the whole time if I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am the master of the calendar. And I mean, I sometimes fuss. I'll get emails where people are asking at the last minute to, bring in things for school. And I am all for volunteering.
Yes.
But I gotta know about it a week in advance. It's gotta get on the, I'm not running to the grocery store to get random stuff at the last minute because somebody didn't think to tell me to the last minute.
Right.
That they wanted cookies that day. Like, I'll do just about anything, but it's gotta get in the queue.
Well, and this is so funny because the nature of my prior job and the nature of this job, and you and I have lamented about this a lot through PTA stuff together. Like, when you have a career, you can't schedule things at the last second like that to be in the school or to help at the school. Like, you probably similar to me have a calendar booked 3 months out, and there's not a whole lot of wiggle room in there. So we want to be involved. We want to be at the schools helping. We want to send in the stuff, but we need
Yeah.
I think a lot of working women need that like heads up and organization time. Like you can't tell me 2 weeks before a field trip that we have a field trip.
Right. Because
I can't volunteer to help.
I'm mapping. I'm trying to map out a very busy like family calendar and work, and try to make it look like I'm always available,
right.
but I'm not. You know, and I can't be completely incommunicado 3 days in a row because there's a field trip or you know, some other engagement that it's very strategic.
Yeah.
So it's been hard for me to sort of embrace I know you need something at the last minute, but just saying no or I can't do it, because I used to want to say yes to everything. That's probably my other life hack, is to learn to say, and it's okay.
It is. It's a huge lesson. It's extremely hard. But I think those are really powerful tools, right? Being organized and then saying no to the right things, which frees you up to say yes when you need to say yes. Like, when you say no to the wrong things that aren't the right fit for you, it allows you to say yes to the right things. Yep. And really, you know, type A, productive, career-focused women want to say yes to everything. So getting to that place of a safe no is a hard skill, but a really important one.
Well, and if you can't say no, then you end up saying yes to everything, and then you're not doing anything well.
Right.
And that transcends in work too. And I have a harder time in work. You know, I'll have potential, you know, transactions to work on, and I don't have necessarily the capacity to work on it. You don't want to say no.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
So you can do a good job.
Occasionally you have to sleep.
Occasionally, yes.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, Megan.
Of course.
Loved having you here. Check out the blog, and we will see you next time. Bye.